Hello and welcome to the 44th gene key reading. This is Karmic relationships. City is synarchy, gift is teamwork, and shadow is interference. The programming partner is the 24th gene key, and this is part of the ring of Illuminati, and it is in the immune system. All right, I just saw something in the reading of this that was overwhelming. Okay, 44th city, synarchy. The coming of the queendom. The 44th city is truly remarkable. It concerns the complete understanding of the mechanics of human destiny and the entire story of humanity. The programming partner of the city is the 24th city of silence, which is a key to understanding how it all works. As a concept, synarchy is the opposite of anarchy. The prefix syn means to act in concert, and archy means to govern. Therefore, the literal meaning concerns the concepts of collective rulership. Historically, the notion of synarchy has been greatly abused politically. Communism claimed to be synergistic or synarchic, as did Hitler's fascist regime. We begin to move a little closer to its true implications through its use within various occult schools of thought. Synarchy has seen by various occult writers as representing a world led by a secret society of masters. This 44th gene key, together with the 50th gene key, forms the genetic codon ring called the Ring of Illuminati. And given that the 50th city activates the quality of higher harmony, we can see how deeply woven into human mythology this archetype truly is. The myth of secret societies has been much in and out of vogue in the last 100 years. With the rise of the New Age movement, it is currently much back in vogue, with numerous books postulating the existence of the hidden Illuminati, who are said to meet in secret and manipulate world events. Such conspiracy theories may have their roots in esoteric tradition, which speaks of a hidden center of the world, variously known as Shambhala, Shambhala, Mount Meru, or Agartha, Agartha, and from which a secret circle of ascended masters or celestial beings govern the world from a higher plane. All such myths and stories have their place and are essentially innocent distortions of the 44th city of synarchy. True synarchy requires an understanding of human fractals in order to fully comprehend its vast vision. Perhaps the best place to begin an exploration of the concept of synarchy is the insect kingdom. There are two groups of insects that are known for this synergistic system of government: ants and bees. Of those, bees are perhaps the better example. Many of the old esoteric traditions speak of a great being, the king of the world, sometimes known as Melchizedek, Melchizedek, or Sanat Kumra, Sanatkumara, who sits at the center of all creation and governs all life in our planetary systems. This is akin to the power of the queen bee in a synarchy of bees. In a hive, all bees serve the queen, and their synarchy is divided into different levels of workers and drones. Within the hive, a single spirit appears to pervade the whole society, and the queen symbolically and chemically maintains the focus and direction of every single member. If the queen dies, the hive falls into chaos and also dies. When the 44th city is present in a human being, then they see the entire tapestry of human interaction through time and space. They not only see it, and they dissolve into it. The consciousness within such a person is able to travel down every single fractal line within the cosmos, because there is no resistance within their vehicle. Their consciousness ripples down the fractal arms of both the past and the future of the universe. The secret to this is silence. Such a being has to fall into complete silence in order to hear the movement of every cell within the great hive of being. However, this 44th city is about far more than just understanding the secrets of human destiny and the fractal pattern of time. To awaken through the 44th city presupposes that you occupy what is known as a core fractal. If you were able to follow all human pattern back to their source at the Big Bang, you would arrive at what's called the three source codes. When the Big Bang exploded, consciousness was seeded into matter in a very trinary pattern. In other words, the compressed energy exploded into three primary fractal lines or arms known as the three source codes. This trinary fractal branches throughout the universe, is well known in modern chaos theory. These three octopus-like arms begin to spiral outwards in ever more complex fractals and gradually coalescend to form the rudiments of our material universe. Every human being alive today has within them a fractal shred belonging or resonating to one of these three original codes. This original trinary pattern or trinity over time has become the foundation of almost all the major world religions and mystical systems. Every computer program has what is termed source code. The source code refers to a hidden code writing by the program that allows access to the main programming matrix. The only way that you can influence the original program is that you have to access this code. In the case of our universe, there are three source codes, and the 44th city allows access to any one of them. Moreover, written into the master program of the overall fractal pattern of our universe are specific points in which we call human history that the program will mutate. In other words, it has a built-in design to evolve beyond itself. If we consider once again the synarchy of the bees, we see the existence of a kind of hierarchy, and one that is circular rather than linear. No one in a synarchy is above anyone else because at all times there is an awareness of the group's inherent oneness. Each unit has a perfect fit in the overall geometry, and if there is no resistance through the individual forms, the totality can function as one. Within this vast tapestry are centers of force known as core fractals. Core fractals are what we term enlightened beings or masters. Every time a human core fractal is awakened, the entire arm of that fractal slowly begins to awaken. Thus it is said that certain beings or avatars come to Earth to take on the sins of the masses. This refers to the awakening of core fractals and the domino effect through their ancestral genetic chain. The being expressing the 44th city therefore occupies a specific genetic vehicle whose mutation causes in time a chain reaction through humanity. If you reduce this down to its essentials, there is actually no glamour in the synarchy. The awakening of the core human fractal simply represents the activation of a previously dominant code within the overall program. As the core fractal is activated, it removes the virus that is wound around its genetic lineage. The virus that represents the shadow frequency. The awakening of the core fractal essentially involves the death of the illusion of its individuality. The moment it gives up its independence, it becomes a clear conduit for consciousness and continues along its lineage. There are a finite number of core fractals, 144,000 to be precise, which is why this number has long been associated with the secret society of beings whose role is to awaken the planet. One final revelation concerning the synarchy is that it has existed since the dawn of time. It is simply distorted by the interference pattern that has always been there from the beginning. This distortion or sacred wound is literally wound around the arms of every single fractal line. It is the reason of human suffering, and it is also the reason for what we call evolution. As the universe awakens, the interference is gradually cleared and the synarchy that lies beneath emerges. Interestingly enough, humanity has always sensed the existence of the synarchy. It lies in all our myths of the past golden age or of a future paradise or heaven on earth. It is written into our destiny to realize the synarctic nature of our species. Although the great irony of all is that by the time it arrives, we as individuals will have disappeared. I have a note there that says ... say more. Okay, I'm gonna read that again as just want to sit with it. It is written into our destiny to realize the synarctic nature of our species. It's in our destiny to realize the synergistic nature of our species. Although the great irony of all that is by the time it arrives, we as individuals will all have disappeared. Read that in. I just love how I said ... say more. It's my current favorite line right now. Okay, I see you, Hank. Hank moved his little arm and touched me. 44th gift, teamwork, bodies and bloodlines. As the frequency of this 44th gene key rises, the gift of teamwork is born. This is actually a fascinating gift because at a very deep level, it concerns the human sense of smell. Much research has gone into the incredibly sensitive olfactory abilities of certain mammals, and most people are unaware of how this sense operates at a higher frequency within humans. These are people whose genius is to read other people. They can literally size you up with a single handshake. This is not an auditory gift like the 57th gift of intuition that can, for example, read you from the tone of your voice over the telephone. The 44th gift requires close personal contact in order for the higher aspects of your your olfactory nature to work effectively. You have to be able to smell someone in order to read their true nature. People with the 44th gift use their sense of smell at a wider level than simply smelling those through the nose. In fact, these people smell with their entire immune systems, and through every pore within their skin, they can pick up undetectable odors such as pheromones and even subtler hormonal signals from those whom they meet. At a deeper level, this gift is about someone being in alignment with his or her own fractal. Once you have a high enough frequency, you can overcome the collective interference of the 44 shadow and begin to pick up the scent of your true allies in life. Not only will you recognize the right people for you, and you will also begin to move differently through the world as your higher instinct begins to function accurately. For the 44th gift, life is about picking up subtle scents. As you follow each scent in your life, you are following your higher fractal, and that is when the miracle of true teamwork can be experienced. To really understand this gift of teamwork, you also need to understand something of the mechanics of incarnation. The 44th gift can smell its own higher incarnation and life purpose in those around it, which is why it knows so much about group dynamics. For many millennia, different cultures have held beliefs about reincarnation, and these beliefs are very much in vogue in the modern New Age revolution. However, the science of human fractals contains some revelation that believers in reincarnation may find interesting and possibly challenging. The first thing that needs to be said on this subject concerns the master genetic program that is mentioned earlier concerning the 44th shadow. This master program operates through the time as well as space. Since the program orchestrates human interaction through the medium of collective gene pools, at the purest level of consciousness, it is true to say that nothing reincarnates except the fractal line itself. It is actually possible to view incarnation from a number of different dimensions. When you study and contemplate the profundities of the 22nd gene key, you will learn about the subtle layers of the human aura known as Corpus Christi, the rainbow body. When you view incarnation from the view of the causal body, which is what many traditions refer to as the soul, you can see how this very subtle aspect of your consciousness returns again and again, and it gradually becomes more and more lucid and luminous. Your causal body, which vibrates at a very rarefied frequency, also travels with the causal bodies of others across space and time in a kind of cosmic relationship dance. Such fractal lines of evolution have always been understood through the ancient laws of karma. However, when seen from a higher dimension, there is only one single consciousness that underlines all creation, and it cannot be divided. Therefore, those causal bodies that travel together across the eons, your close friends, your families, your husband, wives, lovers, and even your enemies, are all really aspects of a single body that keeps dividing in order to play out a wonderful evolutionary story. When seen from this higher dimension, the notion of an individual soul that survives death and travels onward is a simplification of how consciousness uses fractal lines to incarnate. Only consciousness itself survives death, and the ancestral memory is stored in the blood and transferred through DNA down the fractal bloodlines. When certain people recall their past lives, they are really reading their fractal lineage and identifying with a single archetypal aspect of that fractal. Certain people may have been able to recall incredible details about past lives, and again, this is an aspect of the 44th gift, whose whole purpose is to recall those people who resonate with its fractal line. The information of your entire fractal lineage can actually be traced all the way back to the source of all fractals, and this takes an extremely clear vehicle resonating at the level of Siddhic consciousness. The gift of teamwork is therefore about recognizing who belongs in your life. When you meet someone for the first time and they seem familiar to you, it is because their vehicle belongs to your fractal line. Within the greater body, your cells have business together. Taking this further, if you were able to assemble your true fractal around you, then the dynamics of this team would be nothing short of awesome. There would be a total trust within the group or total love within the family. The world has not yet seen much of the archetype of the 44th gift. People with this gift have a knack for group mechanics and a gift for knowing people, and they still have work with the destructive interference patterns of totality. However, as we shall see with the 44th city, all is on the cusp of changing. We have got the 44th shadow interference. Human fractals. The 44th gene key and its entire spectrum of frequencies concerns a little understood subject that actually underpins the structure of human societies, as well as the science of incarnation. This subject, which will be briefly introduced through this gene key, is the existence and nature of human fractals. The term fractal refers to the phenomenon found in natural systems whereby patterns are found to endlessly repeat themselves holographically. The more you magnify a fractal image, the more self-similar patterns you will find hiding within it. The term human fractal is an extension of this notion to human relationships, referring to the web of invisible patterns that bind certain groups of people together. In the classical Indian teachings, such ties between people are known as karmic ties. In the language of human fractals, every person you meet in your life is a part of an overall fractal pattern of your destiny. When you look at fractal images, particularly those generated by a computer, you will notice how fractal geometry follows certain holographic lines and patterns. No matter where you go on the fractal, you find the same pattern repeating infinitely into inner space. As the genetic counterpart of cosmic geometry, As the genetic counterpart of cosmic geometry, human relationship fractals follow similar patterns. You always draw towards you those relationship geometries that teach you exactly what you need to know in order to evolve your current awareness. Through hologenetics, the astrological profiling system behind the 64 gene keys, you can track these fractal relationships through your life. Whenever you look into your holographic profile, you will uncover the same repeating themes. What all of this means is that people in your life, those closest to you, really hold the secret of your destiny and your higher life purpose. As you learn from each relationship in your life and over time come to master the lessons each affords you, then the frequency of your entire hologenetic profile heightens in pitch and you begin to attract higher frequency fractals. The higher frequency human fractal brings new people into your life, most of whom are operating out of a far more transcendent awareness. Say that again. A higher frequency human fractal brings new people into your life, most of whom are operating out of a far more transcendent awareness. Transcendent awareness. A sure sign that you are attracting a higher frequency fractal into your life is devotion. Your relationships will begin to carry a quality of devotion within them. If you do not learn the lesson of a certain relationship, even if you leave that relationship, the pattern will come right back into your life through another person. It is through the 44 gene key that all relationships are called towards each other and why it is so powerfully linked to the theme of ancestral karma and incarnation. The ancient Chinese called the 44th hexagram coming to me, which is of course highly appropriate since the 44th gene key concerns how, why, and when people meet each other, as well as the results that emerge from groups or family dynamics. Human fractals seem to operate at different levels in relationships, families, local communities, and even whole tribal gene pools. To really understand human fractals, you have to look at life both holistically and holographically. If we view separate human beings like cells within a greater organism, we could say that certain cells bind together at different places within the body at different times for different purposes. In other words, there's a kind of master program that choreographs the movement and migration of human beings. Even though it appears that we as individuals are making free choices, it is really the master program operating through us. The 44 shadow works like a virus within the operating system of its master program, throwing the collective choreography out of synchronization. This creates both local and universal interference. You end up with dysfunctional families, businesses that create more imbalance than balanced, governments with inappropriate leadership teams, and relationships that are never easy. The overall result is global chaos. It is exactly what we see today. However, there is one vital thing to understand. The master program cannot be wrong. If it appears to be doing something chaotic, it is in order to diagnose the problem, locate the virus, and reboot the entire system. This is exactly what is beginning to occur on a planetary level. The master program is beginning to assess and eliminate interferent pattern, beginning with the smallest components, individuals. The current state of our planet cannot be fixed from top down. If a program is misfiring in such a huge and complex manner, you have to fix it at the grassroots level. You have to reset the basic components, which are the individuals, followed next by relationships. The moment we begin to see relationships appearing in the world without interference patterns, we will know the core human fractal is rebuilding itself from the bottom up. Once you have a clear relationship, assembling the rest of the fractal is a relatively easy task. Each clean human fractal begins as a binary, a relationship. This is a universal human blueprint symbolized by the mother and father of a family, although the foundational relationship of this fractal does not require that these two be the opposite sex. Along with its programming partner, the 24th shadow of addiction, the 44th shadow of interference represents an incredibly powerful virus that keeps people from finding relationships that are healthy and loving. This 44th shadow brings a great deal of genetic baggage from the past. Many people interpret such relationships as karmic, since the bond seems so strong and the lessons so challenging. It may be that they are not so much karmic as transgenetic. In other words, these relationships span two separate fractals or gene pools. The shadow of addiction ensures that even if you leave such a relationship, you're immediately drawn into another somewhere a little further along the same fractal network. The real reason for such relationships is that they are clearing houses of ancestral memory. Interference patterns that are transferred through your DNA must be resolved in order for a fractal to be cleaned. Couples or partners who are actively involved in clearing out this collective genetic dysfunction are the pioneers of a coming new age. However, for the majority of the planet, dysfunction is the norm, and until two individuals in a relationship are ready to take on ancestral interference patterns of their entire fractal, that fractal will remain dysfunctional. The repressive nature, distrustful. The individual repressive nature of the 44th shadow is based upon distrust. This distrust is both an inherent trait and a conditioned one. It is a fear-based response to one's early experience in childhood, and it infects all of one's relationships. These are the people who have a single disastrous relationship and then shut down out of fear of the same thing happening again. Although they might not show that on the surface, this fear causes them to unconsciously distrust all relationships. Such people often find themselves working and living together with others, and at a subtle level, they keep themselves at arm's length. They are haunted by their own past and rigidly defend themselves from ever experiencing love or pain again. Reactive nature, misjudging. The reactive side of the 44th shadow is the master of misjudgment. These people do not shut down like the repressive side and keep making the same mistakes in their relationships. The 44th gift has a sharp instinct for people, and if the basic frequency of your vehicle is operating below optimum, your instincts misfire. Accordingly, individuals with this reactive nature ally themselves to those who really don't respect them, who turn against them, or in business, who are a drain on resources and often just plain incompetent. The classic example is someone who keeps breaking ties with certain people only to rediscover a similar pattern with the next person. What happens here is that the instinct cannot operate outside of its own fractal, so they make alliances that are fraught with difficulties. These people whose genius is to read other people. And as the universe awakens, the interference is gradually cleared and the synarchy that lies beneath emerges. The 44th gene key. Thank you for listening.